keep us together. Shut the fucking bird up, chain.
But
Keep us together.
right now, Penelope's telling goes our way.
Bird's like, you can go your own way. You can go your own way.
No, Penelope's been fucking ridiculous the last couple days.
Man.
Get her boyfriend.
Yeah, that too. She wants that bird bust to be busted. God. Anyways, what's up, people? How y'all doing? That's a really weird way to put it.
This is the worst way we ever started the show.
It's okay though. Hey, Double Toast Pre-Show. We are here today, hanging out with you guys.
Are we, or is that dude like Thirsty Games or whatever the fuck, like streaming?
I don't even know anymore, man. To be honest, I don't know who the fuck Thirsty Games is. But here's the thing, Thirsty Games. Corey apparently likes you, and we don't even know who the fuck you are. So congratulations for that. But we are here doing our thing, hanging out with you guys. I didn't even like crossfade the fucking audio. I just completely turned that shit off. It's cool. It's fun. We're getting straight to the point. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
I'm good, man. I just figured out that I like a lot of Fleetwood Mac songs. Going through this discography here.
Gotta say, yeah, the chain, man. That's one of my favorite songs ever. Like, especially that bass drop at the end, like bomb.
I'm listening to it right now.
Huh?
It's all off of that one album too.
Are you sure you're not looking at greatest hits?
No, it's all the Dream album or Rumors. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, no, because here's the thing too. I've noticed, like, I'll be on commercials, but my favorite usage of that little bass drop was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the trailer, when they're fighting off that big monster. And Rocket Raccoon plays the song, and like it plays the best part of it. Like, oh my god, yes! And then you watch the movie, and it sucks, and then you're upset that the song won you over. But anyways, Alan, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Finished up Narco season 2, so I started watching Castlevania, and beat Final Fantasy VII. So I'm starting to play Days Gone.
Oh, Days Gone, yeah. That came out like what, last November, I believe.
Oh yeah, it was like a year ago.
Yeah, way before November. Yeah, what the fuck am I talking about? Here's the thing though, man, because that game's $20 now. Are you like, would you recommend that for $20 or no?
Not to you.
Not to me.
I'd recommend it to other people because one of those things is I'm trying to come up with a term for it, but because I put it along the same lines of Red Dead of there's a lot of gameplay here, but you have to earn it, and I don't necessarily agree with that notion because I don't think that when it comes to anything you have like. When you get something, it should be available readily. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to like explore to find gameplay. Like there should be a certain level in front of you, and then the extra stuff you go into the background. With like Red Dead, it's like it's so barren. But if you go in and you study the plants and the animals and all that stuff, you get to earn some gameplay, and it becomes way more fun afterwards. But for somebody that doesn't give a fuck about doing that, it's ridiculously difficult. Days Gone is the exact same way. You have to. There's so much extra stuff to do. It's very similar to State of Decay, honestly. It's a single player State of Decay. You're doing the same kind of stuff, right down to the nests, right down to the trying to get scraps and stuff to get weapons and whatever. It's very very similar. It's just more single player focused. It is a lot of fun, especially now that I've gotten enough weapons and ammo and upgraded my gun enough that I can actually shoot and not fucking miss everything. It is really really a lot of fun, but I don't recommend it to a lot of people. If it does require a certain level of patience, but it is such a weird thing. You have to earn the fun,
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, I feel like that's
You gotta work for your zombie daddy.
You do. Like it's like as soon as you go there, you have to do so much extra shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's the same way with lots of Resident Evil games where it's like, okay, like you gotta get through everything, and then obviously it's like, don't shoot anybody, you got bullets, but don't shoot anybody yet, you gotta save it, blah, 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 blah. And then finally, like after you beat the game or whatever the fuck, like you're able to get enough stuff going on where you can just play it, have fun with it. But at the same time, like, hey man, I'm willing to give this a shot. I love zombies, so.
I love the game, but I kind of feel that way with RE3. So I almost got everything unlocked now, and one thing I've noticed, once you get the coins, the critical hints are more frequent. So it still kind of suffers from the Resident Evil 2 thing, where it's an artificial like kind of hardship. It's not because the zombies are hard and they're good at grabbing you and you got to really juke them. It's really because the lack of ammunition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once you make ammunition irrelevant, the game is pretty much like just run through it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, people are complaining about that too, where it's like it's so easy to run through everything. It's like, yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, after you have like all the weapons and stuff, but I prefer that because, like, to an extent, the reason why you're able to kill everybody so much and get through everything so quickly is because they throw so many enemies at you at once. With Resident Evil 2, if I have all the bullets in the game and infinite ammo,
right,
all that shit, it's still a long playthrough because I'm still busy looking for shit to do.
Yeah, it's more busy work than it is anything else. But it's still it's just that one thing I hate that where. It's not real skill gain or critical. It's just, Oh, it's just some random number you gotta hit.
That happens a lot though. Like in a lot of games. Like again, I'm playing Days Gone. And it's like you having a lot of ammo. The only thing that'll do is help you survive the encounters. Because if you guys remember the first E3 thing they showed is they just showed some dude getting off a bike and then just the World War Z kind of style of zombies of
Damn,
they just rush into a room like a liquid.
Where the dude was getting off on a bike, but okay.
Got off his bike. God, everything about you is sex. Like fucking listen, motherfucker.
Everything with you is Zelda, bitch. We're even now.
Anyways, continue on.
Anyway, I encountered a lot of those hordes, and they're impossible to fight if you don't have the ammo, because they are just gonna rush at you. And it's like even if you have full clip, like 100 shots, they rush you so much, and there's so many of them, you can't stay still. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna take cover and just shoot them all in a turret. You have to like this gameplay is showing. You have to run around, jump through windows, climb up stuff, throw Molotovs. So right now, I finally got to a point where I have enough ammo where I'm able to fight them, but it's still ridiculously difficult. Like, again, the gameplay is showing this dude's getting owned. He has a lot of fucking ammo and health, but it's still insanely difficult because
Are there rocket launchers in the game?
No, I don't think so. Then again, yeah.
So it keeps the difficulty in, because that's one thing I was gonna ask you is, do they got like certain weapon upgrades that just make the horde kind of ineffective?
No, not a single one. There's a one where I have basically you carry a minigun, and that makes it so that that gives you the ammo necessary to actually like logistically be able to beat them. But they're rushing you so fast that they're coming from all angles too. They're rushing you so fast that it doesn't matter how much ammo you have. There's not enough stopping power to keep them all at bay, because your cone of bullets is only so much, but they're just gonna rush outside the cone of you and still jump you. The AI is actually really impressive. It's like if you ever played Left 4 Dead, it's more impressive than that, because Left 4 Dead, it's like they'll eventually stop as long as you're doing a stream of bullets. But yeah, you see the other zombies, they're running around the initial shot, so that way they can get to you. Like you have to run high, you got to do all sorts of stuff in order to get there. And I kept running out of ammo the first time. I had like 100 shots on my assault rifle and a shotgun, and I couldn't do it. I'm now just able to, like 10 hours in.
Yeah, so yeah, being 10 hours in, I guess it can give this somewhat of a first impressions or maybe even second impressions. But like, yeah, recap wise, where are you at with this? Like, 3 out of 5, whatever the case may be, or are you not even comfortable putting a number out there?
It's getting better the more I play, because I stopped playing because I was bored as fuck. I was like, the shooting is terrible. I don't understand what this game is. It's a generic zombie game. But the more I play it, the more I'm interested in it. And the one thing that I really, really like about the main character is he is mentally nuts. He is like insanely like, holy shit, there's something wrong with this dude. If this world was normal, this guy needs to be institutionalized. Because like every time he'll go up to like a zombie, like, oh, there's a zombie there. Okay, I can't wait to fucking kill him. I rip his fucking face out. I'm like, okay, sure, guy, that's cool. Oh, Rippers, I'm gonna fucking murder all of them. Oh, you like killing people? Oh, I'll kill you. I'm like, okay, this dude, like, he's a really good voice actor, but he's like freaking me out every time he goes up to someone. I'm like, wow, this guy's just as evil as the people he's trying to kill, but he has his own version of a code. So it makes it interesting every time he goes up against an enemy, because him muttering to himself is really disconcerting. Mm-hmm. But it's you're just hearing that, you're like, holy shit, this dude's unstable.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, I like being, and I mean, because for one, too, like people that are crazy like that, like they're the ones who are going to survive a zombie apocalypse or whatever. So it makes sense. I hate when there's a person who hasn't had their, moral code fucked with.
I haven't killed anyone. It's been 4 years in the zombie apocalypse, but I never even held a gun. How are you alive?
Yeah. Or just like people, like, here's the thing, and not to go on a big Walking Dead rant, I'll make this very short, but it's like Rick being like, listen, we gotta help each other. We got, we're together. I'm like, why do you not read the room, brother? Like, the end of the world's happened. You're not gonna go to jail. There's not a court system. I know you care about people, but like, dog eat dog, literally human eat human. Like, learn, motherfucker. Like,
well, that's one of the things he's trying to. As the series went on, he was always trying to hold on to the old world, because he was one of the few people that didn't live through the entire pandemic. Because like he's out of it for like what, 5 months, so he's still old world mentality. So he's like, well, why are we gonna go back to being savages and criminals? Let's try to be better. But then as the series goes on, you see that slowly getting degrading, where he just doesn't give a fuck by the end, where he almost becomes a problem. But yeah, so Days Gone, I it's so hard to recommend because it's getting better and better, but I can't sit there and be like, hey man, Nick, you play it. It's like, well, Ellen, it's kind of boring, but 15 hours in, you'll love it.
Yeah, like, and I'm still like, here's the thing, even games that people have recommended and even you've recommended to me, I played, and it did take like at least 8 hours sometimes to get into it. I'm just aware that that's what happens nowadays. Like, I'm not going to get mad when a game takes that long to get started because at the same time, I mean, look at Stardew Valley. That took a while.
7
you know?
at least.
Yeah,
but
it's like it
Wouldn't take long to start off with Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
I did actually start off with Harvest Moon. I mean, not the one you.
Which one?
I started off with one of the ones you yelled at me
Which
for.
one?
The one on the Switch.
Is
Light
there
of
multiple
Hope or
Wrong
some shit.
again, Alan.
What?
Wrong.
Wrong.
Again, there's no pleasing you. Play Stardew Valley. It would be better if you played Harvest Moon. Well, not that Harvest Moon. I'm like, what the fuck do you want
This
from me?
is very similar to Stardew Valley. I think this would be a good one to start off with. Right?
Especially since that one sucks ass.
I mean, I don't fucking know. I just picked it up and it was
Especially
cheap.
since it came after Stardew Valley.
Okay,
And it
so
sucked.
Oh,
so
did
which
it?
one then? Which one, Jet, that he should start off with?
One on a system I don't know.
No,
anymore.
like you could have started off with Mineral Town, the original.
The
Mineral-
Or
original?
Friends of Mineral Town. Or basically the one for GameCube.
Mineral Town actually looks.
I don't
Why
even
does
own a
it look
GameCube
better?
anymore.
That's the remake.
You have an emulator. Don't you
Yeah,
fucking
that's
do
fair.
that.
Remake one next to it's Mineral Town.
Look,
Like
I'm
the
good then. Point is, but the whole thing about it getting good is what are you doing up until then? Because if the game is unplayable or just really boring, then it's like there's no reason for you to. I don't believe in obligation. I don't believe you're ever obliged to do anything or sit through anything. There should be something there. Now it's not always going to be the same for every single person. Like Tales of Berseria, there is almost no real combat for the first hour, but I love the dialogue so much that it kept me going. That if the dialogue was bad and the very little gameplay, I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll keep going. But I was enjoying the character so much that it got me to where I really ended up enjoying the game. Days Gone, I straight up stopped after an hour. I was like, this is fucking boring. But I had like 6 people tell me, yo, it gets better, it gets better, it gets better.
Well, plus
I'm like,
within
oh,
1
fuck it,
hour,
it's
yeah,
20.
you can't give up that fast. I don't think.
Mm,
Hey,
that's-
Master Kaibosh, thank you for following us.
Thank you.
sir.
Yes, thank you for the follow. Oh, no, it's always been my mentality when it comes to video games. In the first hour, in the first hour, I can tell whether or not I will enjoy a video game. There have been a few exceptions to that, but for the most part, I can tell within the first hour, I was like, oh, am I going to enjoy this, or do I have to stick with it for a little bit? Like with Stardew Valley, like I fucking hated that first hour, but I kept pushing because then eventually, I'm like, okay, hour 2, hour 3, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get what's going on.
Fuck, Alan.
But that's usually, dude, it's like the first 10 seconds of a song. Like something has to get you, right?
Wait, no,
You
not
can't
10,
just sit there
10
and be like,
seconds in a song. Are you? That's sometimes especially if you're watching it on
have
YouTube.
you ever
That's a
heard-
fucking dialogue, basically. That's not even a fucking.
Well, that's a
song
music.
at the start.
No,
Shit,
music
yeah,
video. Like,
I'm about to say, like, if you're watching on some old hip hop, you're not even getting past the skit yet.
fuck the skits, man. I never like that.
Yeah, but that's 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes, 10 seconds into the
Well,
song.
no, but I mean, it's like you sometimes hear a song and like the first couple seconds, you're like, what? Oh, that fucking sounds awful. I mean, oh god, it hurts your ears. But then, like, or sometimes you're like, holy shit, that sounds really fucking good. The first little bit, you
I
want
will
to keep
defend
going.
Alan here and saying that maybe he just because we're kind of like throwing everything on all at once here.
Yeah,
You probably didn't mean to say 10 seconds because
No,
like
I just threw out a number.
Okay, but yeah, because I see what you're saying. Where like the first 25% of the
Get his ass.
the first 25%.
I
of the song
stand
is-
by my hour thing though. That one's not enough number. I do stand by that because a video game is like, yeah, there's 20 hours games, there's 5-hour games, but the first hour of a video game, that's what's supposed to hook you in as a gamer. It's something that again I do kind of like, but there've been better open world RPGs. Skyrim's first hour is awesome. Like it is incredibly awesome. Like you start off bound, you're about to die, fucking dragon comes in, fucks everything up, everything's exploding, you're running away. And then you get your swords, and then there's enemies all
Gets
over
to
the
play
place.
on Alexa.
Anyway, it's fun as fuck the first hour of that game. So it's like, okay, it gets you going, but what happens after that hour and a half? The game really drastically slows down. But that first hour is to really get your blood pumping. So if the first hour is not necessarily slow, but it's just awful to fucking get through, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna play. Like Alan Wake, that first hour is fucking terrible. I actually hate that game entirely. And then I kept playing. I'm like, oh my fucking, I didn't even beat it. I got like fucking 2/3 of the game. I'm like, this game is fucking stupid. I'm fucking done.
I will say, like, for me, I like to think of it as percentages because, like, here's the thing: you say, like, well, the first hour, I mean, Cuphead is about like a 50-minute game. So the first hour, if you don't like it, you either have been stuck on the same level or you beat the game and you're like, wow, that sucked. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that it's really percentage-wise. I think of it as like the first 25% of the game. Like, for instance, looking at Final Fantasy VII, if I hated it the first 3 hours, I'm still going to give it more of a chance because the game's 30 hours long and this is only the first part.
Yeah, but
So like,
25% of that is what? Fucking 7 hours?
yeah, but I mean, it makes sense because like, here's the thing, dude. I'm still doing shit that's teaching me how to do shit, and I'm still in the first little section with Aerith, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, even though I fought 2 bosses, like, they're still telling me. I for the first time, I'm able to actually change the party around and choose who is the leader of the party. Like, I just
Yeah.
barely started doing that, and I'm like,
But
wow.
what's the
I've been
first
playing for
hour of
6
Final
hours.
Fantasy VII is a great example because it just came out. What's the first hour of Final Fantasy VII? You're immediately like thrown into combat, and the combat is cool as hell. Then you get a party member and you're switching through. Hell, in that first hour, you get to the boss. Roughly, give or take, depending on your skill level, you get to the boss within that first hour. Sure, it'll take you more than that hour mark to get to that boss, but you're at that boss fight by that point. And at that point, you've encountered dialogue, you've encountered party switching, you've encountered the rudimentary magic system. I mean, I don't know if you've died yet, depending on, again, just depending on your gameplay.
He did.
No, I didn't. But
No, he did though. Nick definitely did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
did-
I'd say
on stream,
depending
I
on your
couldn't beat
gameplay.
it. I was on normal mode, just normal mode, and I could not fucking beat it. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say that gives you. So when I say within the first hour, I can tell if I'm gonna enjoy it. It doesn't mean like, oh, it's the most action-packed, coolest thing in the world. There is something in here that's gonna keep me going to hour 2 to hour 3 to hour 4. If there is nothing where I'm like, yo, I don't want to be here right now, dude, there's no shortage of video games out there. There's no shortage of television. There's no shortage of movies. There's no shortage of other entertainment that if your first hour is I don't want to fucking continue to the next minute, I'm out.
Yeah, Ruth
Like,
has
I have
put it
other
down
things to do.
perfect. He said a better spot is like Nick essentially saying after they get to know the game section, which is half hidden and obvious tutorial, and the opening of the story beats. Which, yeah, like another thing too is story. Even in movies, man, you have to wait until like the first big milestone moment happens because I've never gone to a movie, even Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Because I saw Terminator 2 before I saw the first one, and I didn't think it was cool that Sarah Connor was doing pull-ups. I was like, okay, she's doing pull-ups. All right, I guess we got nothing to show today. And it took Arnold going into the bar that made me go like, oh shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but movies are a bit different because movies are so like, I mean, the longest movies right now are what, 3 hours, and there's like 5 of them you can name on top of your head, maybe like 5 or 10 within the last couple of years. Movies are at most 2.5 hours, so it's like there's not that much time dedicated to it. So it's like, yeah, it's 2 hours, okay, whatever the fuck. Like, but then again, like, how many times have you been sitting through like a 2-hour movie and you're like, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself. This is the again. There was a thing.
Exactly. Senpai just said exactly what I was saying. I can tell you have no patience. That's what I said last time.
There's a difference though. Like, I have patience, but there has to be something there for me to give it.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm your
You're the
friend.
equivalent
You don't have
of an
patience.
IGN review.
I don't even start on IGN with like again, like I brought up a bunch of games that I love. The fucking that the first hour has to give me something to grab onto. I already brought up multiple things of either action or dialogue or characters or something. So how is it that there's lack of patience? There has to be something there. There has to be something to get me going.
I think that's one of the things, though, that it's kind of like if you keep like, because it fits a lot of games that you didn't like for instance, like Kingdom Hearts. You said like, oh well, the game's fucking hard, but I didn't do the side quests because I want to beat the game. I want to do it, and it's like, well, no, you.
Well, I did most of the side quests for that. You talk about the extra stuff with Sephiroth and all that stuff. Where I'm like, it's not interesting me because this game's not interesting me. Yeah, because it did. None of those games interested me enough to go through. But like again, I'm going through my second playthrough of Red Dead, a game that both you and Ganja just didn't like because of a lot of the slow aspects and a lot of it's hard to find something to fucking do. But I'm playing through my second playthrough of that, and I'm loving the hell out of it.
God damn, how do you do that?
So the idea that people are telling me that I have no patience, to me, it's like I think it's just some sort of lost translation because there's a lot of my favorite games that a lot of people don't like the opening to it. Like the opening to The Witcher 3, one of my favorite games of the last decade, it takes a long time before you really understand what you're doing. But what happens in that first hour? You get introduction to a cool character, one of the best characters in the game. You have a decent rudimentary understanding of the combat system. The RPG system doesn't even come into like hour 3 even. So it's like this idea that I have no patience, I don't see where that's coming from, where a lot of the games I play have very slow openings.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, like, I'm looking over here too, because Ruth said we all don't have patience. I mean, a big component of that is Blade Runner. Look, man, I understand you were young when that movie came out. You liked it when it was brand new. I'm telling you, man, because I like slow shit. There's movies where nothing happens and I fucking love them. That movie is just so up its own booty hole. And the biggest thing too is I think like when you first watch a movie like that, you had to be in the right setting too. And it's like with everyone yelling and talking and losing their shit in that call, trying to be funny and shit. It was like, no offense to any toasties, or whatever, but like there's some movies I just cannot watch with y'all. Like that drives me.
Oh yeah, I'm never putting The Dark Knight in the fucking after hours. Fuck off. I love that movie to death. I don't need y'all there.
Well, like I even like Crank. Like Crank is one of my was one of my favorite
Crank
movies.
2 was it we were watching? Yeah.
Yeah, High Voltage, and we watched it in the after hours, and it was like Jesus fucking Christ, I couldn't take it. I literally I hate that movie now because of that. Thank you, Mike, for the 40 bits, man. You always
you
support
give
us.
us a lot of bits, man. Appreciate it. I'm surprised you don't hate us.
Yeah, no, man, it's fucking awesome.
You have to slob on us now for these bits, Al.
But this is the second time someone brought it up. Fucking XCOM just it's weird what it's actually called, Chimera Squad. People are calling it an expansion.
Oh,
but
I'm
it's
fucking hyped. This shit looks great.
It's fucking it's again what I've always like. I fucking love XCOM. XCOM 2 is like one of my favorite. Whatever year that came out in, that was my favorite game that year. Because it's the strategy, a lot of the cool stuff you can fucking do. That tutorial is fucking garbage.
But wait, are you talking about the new game? Because I didn't even know about this
Chimera
right
Squad.
now. Chimera Squad. Okay, he said Chimera Squad. That's what I was typing. I was like, what the fuck is Chimera Squad? But no, Chimera Squad. Yeah, and it's coming out next week.
Yeah, it's really weird. They just announced it today, and it's coming out next week. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. Didn't hear anything about it. No rumors. Oh, it's $20. I'm like, okay, so it's an expansion, which kind of disappointed me because I wanted a full-on sequel to 2, but they're doing so many cool things with it that I'm like, this seems like they just have a bunch of ideas for a sequel, but they need more time. So like, well, let's just get some money. We'll put these ideas as an actual like $20 game and say, fuck it, have fun. It's even on sale right now.
Yeah, I'm really surprised, but at the same time, last time people got something extra like this, it got mad with Wolfenstein Youngblood. So I'm just kind of like,
but that was bad though. Like that
well,
was
I mean, it's bad in comparison to the 2 great games you just got before. So I'm just thinking like, yo, if this is bad, can we just take it easy on him? I mean,
no. Wolfenstein was bad because of just from everything from like story to gameplay to characters to the RPG system. But Ganja, you talk about XCOM a little bit. I talk too much.
I'm actually interested because one, it looks like it's trying to take the best way to describe it looks like a SWAT game. And one of the aspects of it that I'm interested in is that you start off with breach mode, so eventually you're going to get to set up your characters and find a way to enter the different areas and deal with the different encounters. So it's kind of like an RPG element as well as the traditional RTS that you know from XCOM when it comes to the squares and the different diagonal ways you can travel. It's not a full game. You can tell because when they're doing a discount for it, so it's only like $10 American, $100 Canadian.
Yeah. And
if you're trying to go check out the game, it's going to be pretty reasonable price. So I can definitely tell it's either going to be something where if you buy it on PC, it's nice, it's pretty looking, the mechanics work, but I feel like it's going to have a mobile version in a couple months.
Or a Switch version.
Yeah, because that's what I'm kind of getting at, because a lot of the cutscenes look like they're using cartoons. And for me, that's the first time that it switched over to mobile games, so they can focus on the gameplay, taking over the processing power, and not having to deal with too much cutscenes.
Which isn't the worst thing.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing, but I think that's why it's probably going to end up having a mobile port. But who knows? Mobile ports are fun. I have a great time with the Fallout one. So it all depends.
Really quick, I want to touch on something that someone brought up in the chat right now. Apparently, Ed and Andy might be moving over to Adult Swim or something.
All right, so legit.
What's up?
Are they having new episodes?
I'm not entirely sure yet, because I'm not a big fan of Ed and Eddie. Not to talk shit about the show or anything like that, too. But
it's weird as fuck. Like, I like it, but then it's like I'm not gonna sit there and die on the hill of it's the greatest cartoon show ever. It was weird as fuck, and if you were into it, like it's like Invader Zim before Invader Zim, you know.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that that's one of the things that I'm kind of interested in it. Be going to Adult Swim. If it's a new batch of episodes, like what Jet was talking about, then I'm kind of hyped for it because Ed and Eddie kind of always had a little bit of an adult tinge to it, and with the way Cartoon Network's going on now, it's either trying to do more adult subjects in terms of emotional stuff, but I rarely see like straight out crazy animation coming so much from them anymore. It's all pretty much stereotypical Steven Universe type animation tropes, as well as Adventure Time. Which is going to take a little while for them to get out of that animation style, just like when everyone copied The Simpsons and Futurama. But with this and Eddie coming to Adult Swim, if it's actually going to be, well, now you just informed me it's possible rumors, but I'm going to keep explaining anyways. But when it comes to Adult Swim, it might have a little bit more bite dealing with, like, you know, having to be able to be a little bit more adult, similar to what we saw with the Hey Arnold movie, as well as the the Invader Zim, and there was another one that came out that was a kids show, but it was a little bit more adult when it had its re-release for Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few of them come out. We have watched them all. That's why it's hard to figure them out.
Yeah.
But that's kind of seems to be the trend now that they add a little bit of reasonable dog humor. It's not like, the main character Ed's going to whip out his dick and it's going to make like a donkey sound.
Far.
But they're going to make probably like references to maybe sex or being in a relationship or kissing or making out and stuff like that, which the show did that anyways. And they're probably just going to go a little bit more rough with it, which I'm sure that like Adult Swim is sometimes the best place for those type of adult cartoons. Hell, remember Futurama got its rebirth there because people like to appreciate those semi-adult comedies, but overall they're basically for adult teenagers.
Oh, dude, nothing can ever go full Ren and Stimpy. I can't believe that show.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy just went hardcore for adults. Yeah, they went for hardcore adults afterwards and just started showing titties.
Yeah. At a certain point too, it's like when you do that, because I was talking.
Oh, Samurai Jack, thank you.
Oh yeah, Samurai Jack was fucking amazing. Like that was a really good send off to a series. I never thought would ever get a send off again.
Yeah, but no, like it's one of those things where I was thinking about this too, and I was talking to Jed about this recently about me being so angry about it. But it's like, yeah, when like Sausage Party is one of those situations, but like there is shows that been out there and did very sexual shit, and kids watch it, and it's kind of like. I really do wish, not to say that like back in the day people weren't annoying with like, oh my god, like my kid did something shitty and it's not my shitty parenting, it's the show's fault. But it's like now that we know that that's kind of like a lame thing to say and people like say that has no like weight whatsoever, now we're just putting anything out there and it's like, dude, like Ren and Stimpy, I mean, being on Spike TV, and I know what kind of shit Spike TV allows on their fucking broadcast. Do not mix animation.
That was the most old
stuff.
Man thing. I know what the shows on that network is. You can't fool me.
No, here's the thing, dude. Like, you know how many fucking insults that kind of shit probably created because they have these things called mansers. Hey, what can a girl do with her tits?
Was the greatest show ever made.
Coming from an asshole. No, I'm just joking. But
no, that show had some fucking like there was some stupid bullshit they would always do, but there were some great episodes. I don't know why this always stuck in my head. They got this like stunt driver, and they're like, "Hey, here's what happens. Like, here's how you can survive getting hit by a car like without any problems." And it's like, yeah, if you see a car speed towards you, like jump into like the fucking windshield because like the weird plastic mesh it is will like absorb the impact, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, even like that show that, 1,000 Ways to Die, there's so many fucking things about that where I was like...
I never liked 1,000 Ways to Die, not because of the subject matter, but because of the comedy routine they tried to make it.
Well, you don't want that shit to be serious. The fuck?
I mean, people are dying in really weird, horrific ways.
That would be more morbid, and then he would never see his kids again.
No, but like, they always do some weird shit where they're always trying to make like the fucking
can't
like.
Be pleased over here.
I don't know, man. I'll just say it was always a bit too like.
Jonathan leaves behind a family of 4.
Yeah, oh, man.
CJ saying these are people dying. Like, come on.
I'm gonna use this as a really good segue because, CJ saying when WWE left Spike TV, it went downhill. Well, you know what? WWE's going downhill yet again today.
You're great.
Yeah.
What do they do?
Well, they're essential.
Fuck you, man. Deadliest Warrior had like 2 good seasons.
Oh, I love Deadliest Warrior. Yeah, I'm sorry,
2
man.
good
I
seasons.
disagree with you there, buddy.
All right, so can I just be honest? Let's all be honest. We're fans of Dangerous Warriors. It was mostly the blood coming out of the puppets that kind of sold it for us. Let's be honest.
No, it wasn't that for me. Not at all.
It was for me. As soon as I saw like, oh shit, that looks like a human getting split by an old medieval axe, I'm fucking down.
I was the opposite. I love the them testing everything because I grew up on MythBusters. I fucking love the shit out of MythBusters because they would always do some crazy bullshit like, "Hey everyone, we're gonna see how much dynamite it takes to blow up a car," and they would just do it. And you get to see them like getting everything ready. With Deadliest Warriors, it was like especially the Spartan versus the Apache. They're getting like Spartan warriors. They're getting like people that have trained like in Spartan techniques. They're getting like the actual spears and shields and like actually like using against ballistic dummies and shit like that to see what happens at the impact. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Or they're doing like the pirates and they're just showing like this is how an average pirate would have fought. Like the pirate versus the knight episode. I did not think the pirate was gonna fucking win that, but because of his even though that he wasn't as good at trained. His technology was a bit better, so it gave him the edge. I'm like, that shit's cool as fuck.
Yeah, Master Kaibash was talking about how the only way they could have made that shit, they had to make it comedic for 1,000 Ways to Die to even air. I'm saying with Deadliest Warrior too, though. Imagine like if they went really, really intense with that too. They had to have people nerding out and having fun with it. And looking at what people are saying too about I fucking miss where they.
I really wish that show came back, but when they did the 3rd season and they changed up the cast, and like we're gonna add strategy to this, I'm like. What?
Well, no. When they did the Zombies vs. Aliens in season finale,
wait, what?
That was it.
Yeah, that was
seriously?
Yeah, that was the end for me.
For me too.
I don't fucking remember that because I just stopped watching after. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're putting Joan of Arc versus whoever the fuck, and you're introducing strategy. You can't put that into a simulation. That is like random as hell. That's like,
I think they even had like the zombies win.
Against
well, no,
who?
they had the vampires win, but then the zombies like they infect them. So then it's like, hey, tune in next.
That's not how that
maybe.
works at all.
Wait, you can't decide whether that works or not. It's not real.
Well,
They're
I'm
not
just
zombies.
curious how
Like,
they did, because even if you like almost every fucking like zombie lore you could find out there, except for I guess the strain actually, which is hilarious enough. Most of them they're immortal, they can't get diseases, they don't age, so it's like that's just a weird thing of we're gonna infect a vampire with zombieism. Like what?
I feel like that the infection is something that no one even knows the lore to, and they all change. So it's like it's fine. Here's the thing though: it's like Deadliest Warrior is cool because it's talking about real life fucking groups of people going at it, and it's like zombies are not real, vampires are not real. So what are you gonna do next? You guys are gonna rip off like and Freddy Krueger versus Jason Voorhees? Who would win? Like what the fuck?
Well, then you just turn into fucking death battles.
Well, no, now you're just stealing fucking other people's shit. Like,
Yeah. Well, no, death battles did that on Screw Attack where they would do they would always pit video game characters against each other. But they would do exactly that. Like Goku versus Superman, which was the most controversial one. They did two of them, which is hilarious. And Nick, you might actually like this show because or hate it.
Yeah, I've talked about it many times. Yeah, like I just watched the one they did last week with Machamp versus Goro. Like,
I stopped watching that because even though they go through a lot of research, they're up their own asses. Zelda totally would have killed Peach. That is some bullshit.
Nah, Zelda's weak towards women. We established this.
What do you? Peach doesn't have any combat training. The only thing
but she has a vagina, which causes Link to fear her.
That is a bullshit. Peach would have lost. Every incarnation of Zelda a warrior. Peach has just been like a fucking socialite.
All Peach had to do is put him in the friend zone and
never gonna fucking forget that shit. Never. It's been years.
He got friend zone to defeat.
I will say G4 could never exist now with how much video game content is put out there constantly. I don't think they can ever come back. Because some of the kids bringing up G4, I'm like, I like G4, but at the same time, like they ran out of so much content, at least competitive content, that they ended up being just the cops show. Like every single time we would put on that channel, it was just cops for fucking 20 hours.
I'm with Nick. That's something that I'm gonna put as a time and place in history. That's like a motherfucker coming here in the comment section, and be like, "Yo, they're gonna bring back discos." No, the fuck they ain't.
But really quick, before we get out of here, I want to bring up something because we are technically all over the place, and I do want to take advantage of the fact that we are here and this big news fucking thing came up. I'm gonna get your opinion on this very, very quickly, man. Sam Raimi working on Doctor Strange 2, aka the Multiverse of Madness.
Terrible name. You understand by it? I know what they're going for. It's like one of those things. Like, yeah, it's cool what you're going for. That name is trash.
Yeah, man. But, like, here's my thing. I think that Sam Raimi will be great for it just because of the fact that he has so many wacky shit going on with the Evil Dead franchise as well as a little bit of Spider-Man. But at the same time, man, I think that his type of content that he produces is so fucking crazy. And so, like, it's crazy that mixes in with, like, real life, like, weird shit. And to make it fantastical is really not, like, his forte. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think those demons from Evil Dead were fantastical at all. I don't think they're very, like...
No, they were pretty like one of the things people loved about it was how practical, especially with the remake, like with the special effects. They did use practical effects, but some of the stuff he was doing, it's like no one's really thinking of. My issue with this is when you have the Marvel machine, you really lose the director's ability to add their own unique flair. Like Edgar Wright. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen an Edgar Wright movie. Have you ever seen Shaun of the Dead?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is fucking amazing. What you call it? The Hot Fuzz is my favorite one of that Cornella trilogy. He was supposed to do Ant-Man originally, but they had creative differences because whenever you watch an Edgar Wright movie, he always does these weird, quirky, like larger than life moments that are so super mundane. Like one of the things that people that worked in like the justice sector with Hot Fuzz, they liked how it focused on paperwork. Because nobody talks about that shit in cop movies about how much paperwork there fucking is. And he did these weird camera angles to make it interesting, even though it's a very boring thing. But I could assume whatever he wanted to do for Ant-Man, they just didn't want it because their machine has made it so it's very formulaic. So it's hard for you to really get whatever your unique flair is because it has to be very similar to all the other Marvel movies, for better or for worse. If you like it, then that's fine. But for people, there are going to be sections of fans dropping out of these movies because they're just like, fuck it. There's better stuff coming out in the comics or television shows or video games. I don't need the movies anymore. Sam Raimi, I don't know what he's going to add to this that he's going to be allowed to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either, because here's the thing that kind of brings questions to how I feel like he's gonna be doing with this, because he has done comic book shit before. By the way, Noir Tim Burke says, I feel like they are trying to bring in Wanda's actual powers because she was so power scaled, but now that there's X-Men, we can really go into her story. Plus, they had the Blade, so they need the horror aspect. That's true. That actually is true, because they're trying to do different genres with like the next phase, whatever they're going for.
Yeah.
But like they have touched, or Sam Raimi's touched on this before, Darkman. But here's the thing: this world that Darkman was in was very grounded. I actually remember this.
That movie's weird as fuck, man.
It's weird, but it's grounded weird. It's like
yeah, fair.
Because another thing that he worked on too that's a little bit more recent is Drag Me to Hell, and this movie is fantastical and weird as fuck. But at the same time, like the genesis of the story, that kind of like gets you into the whole like, oh my god, hell's coming for her, blah blah blah, the whole thing. It kind of starts off normal. Like once upon a time, this girl's working, as I forgot what her job title was, but it's something as simple as this witch is not. She can't get money, she can't get help from the government, and a bunch of bullshit happens. So it's kind of like, I gotta tell you, dude, like they kind of like built the story on that's pretty cool. And with Doctor Strange too, especially after Endgame, there is no beginning that's normal or grounded. It's crazy right away. It's Doctor Strange. But go ahead.
It's one of those things where, especially when you watch the first one, Doctor Strange has always been mystical and magical. But the first one, it starts off with him just being a regular doctor, the accident, everything's there. Him trying to get to even before everything gets weird and transcending. It's relatively normal. It's a normal case of, hey, I'm trying to fix a problem with myself, and I need to go to like these weird mystical places. The thing is when you have a sequel, you can do whatever you want. Like, look, I always bring it back to the first and second Captain America. The first Captain America it is what it is. It's everything you imagine from a comic book movie of this weird skinny kid, but because he has a good heart, he's the main character. Here's the one we follow. Here's the one we're rooting for until he gets his powers, but he's still a good person. The sequel is very the Winter Soldier, which is people consider almost their favorite Marvel movie, is very grounded in reality. It's Captain America dealing with the grays of the world, where it's no longer this overt evil versus this incredible good. It's gray areas where people don't really know he doesn't know what choices to make, what choices are right, and that was really grounded for that character and really interesting. That's why it stuck out. So you can make a sequel with Doctor Strange and not necessarily have to make it super grounded, but you don't have to go like unbelievably crazy, or maybe you do. It depends on how you want the character to end at the end of this movie. Like, where do you want them to go, or what things do you want to introduce? Because a lot of these movies now, they're just introducing things for other people to deal with.
Really quick, I'm going to ask Jet. Hopefully you're there, Jet. But I was going to ask you, are you excited for the Doctor Strange sequel? And is there any other Marvel movies in Phase 4 that you're like, okay, you know what? Kind of sick of the shit, but these movies I am pretty excited for?
No.
Okay, I would imagine so. Why is that, though?
I'm just sick of superhero movies.
I'm sick of them too. Here's the thing, though. I feel like, and maybe Alan can agree with me here. I feel
What's
like
up?
This might give us a chance to not just meander on the same comic book shit. This could be a horror movie. You know what I mean? And
I'm not gonna put that on there because I don't think that they're gonna want to fuck up their formula. Because you generally don't fuck up a trending formula until it stops bringing you money. Look at Call of Duty, for instance. They had the same engine for like 8 years. Like they kept it going until people stopped buying it. Then they're like, well, we gotta go back to normal. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. That's when they started scrambling to keep the profit margins up. Marvel isn't really there. Their last movie, Far From Home made $1 billion. Like that was more money than the last Spider-Man movie did, and that was successful as fuck. So until they have I don't think it's gonna be a while before they have a bomb. But once they start seeing diminishing returns, then they'll see it. But a horror, like horror PG-13, maybe somebody out there can name me when that actually worked. But like, they're not going to want to go that dark, especially the fact that these are still products for they're family products. I'm not going to say they're kids products because I don't want to sit there and be, they're just for kids, because people take that as a negative. But they are family friendly. You walk in, you can watch it for everyone in your family. You don't sit there and hope your grandmother doesn't see you watching this weird sex scene. It's like that doesn't happen in these movies. So with and you can't really do horror on essentially a PG. Yeah, they're PG-13, but they're more PG than 13.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean, and yeah, like when people are saying like, yeah, it's gonna be a PG-13 horror movie, it's gonna be having all the Marvelisms, but that comes without saying too. Even if it was a rated R, movie, it's like, look at Batman v Superman. That was a very DC adult movie. So as rated R as they want to get, it still felt like PG-13 with a little bit of extra balls. Thank you for the 41 bits, by the way, E-Mike.
Yeah, thank you so much, buddy.
And those bits.
He said still waiting for that fucking Spawn movie, Atomic Fire. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, you finally found an ally, ideas.
God damn,
Wow.
man.
That's good.
I've been waiting so.
I mean, hey, he managed to get $15 to get to do the movie. I'm sure it's gonna make money.
Fucking asshole.
Look, I can't talk shit anymore because Hellboy came out and that shit fucking sucked.
How about Assassin's Creed?
That disappointed me so bad.
Yeah. But anyways, people, we're going to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to go ahead and give a raid to our boy Chris Herman and everything. There's going to be other topics that we were going to touch on today, but we're going to save those for tomorrow, and I'll start the show a little bit earlier so we have more time to talk about all these things. But with that said, thank y'all for chilling with us for so very, very long. Thank you, Jet. Thank you, Ganja. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you for everyone that's watching. Thank you, Mike, for all of the bits. Thank you for everyone that followed.
Yes, very, very much, people. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And then Thursday, by the way, too, I'm going to be playing a video game. I'm still trying to figure out which one to play, but I want to do some multiplayer, so add me, NickDiaz602. Do you guys want to share your handles at all for gaming? No?
I don't remember them, but you can add me to the Red Ganja Guru on Twitter, and I will send them to you if you want actually care about it.
Send me a whisper on Twitch if you're interested. If you do add Nick, I'm on his friends. You'll figure it out. Or just message me personally on Facebook if you're interested.
Oh, yeah. So with that said, here, you guys hear that music? Time for us to get the fuck out of here. Thank you so much for chilling with us. I really appreciate it. We will see you when... Shut up, phone. Damn. Goddamn pissing me off. Anyways, goodbye. Enjoy Chris doing his thing.
We raided you, Chris. Coming for that booty.
Punchy punch.
Wow, okay. I was in the middle of texting something to JT.